had a visitation by a golden eagle and a bald eagle and by all kinds of flowers and beings, and it was just lovely. So we're going to go ahead with, we had tentative a hold on the first weekend in September to do an overnight retreat there, and we're going to go ahead with that planning. So save the dates. I think we all just wanted more time just to settle in and walk and feel, sit on that land.
Chris?
Yeah,
Is that Labor Day weekend?
it is Labor Day weekend. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Gina Jukai is a sleepover party.
Yeah, it's a sleepover party. Yeah, it is. It's a camp over. Yeah. Yeah, it'd really be fun. And then we're going to maintain our schedule at Open Skies. So at the end of this month, May 31st, we'll do our ongoing monthly sittings there.
Mhm.
And full moon, although yes. Yeah. Bodhisattvas. In our newsletter, we say, hello, Bodhisattvas. You don't get the newsletter, sign up over there. I know when I've worked with vets and firefighters and even now in this interfaith thing, I just say bodhisattvas, and then you look around and people are like, it's like most people have like there's no context. So, and I mean, maybe we all think we know what bodhisattvas are, but I don't know about you, but I'm always up for reminders, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to spend some weeks here looking at the traditional archetypes of the bodhisattvas, and then we're going to and simultaneously play in it, expand the boundaries of it. Maybe I'm going to go backwards, but to do an introduction, but just to name Manjushri, the Bodhisattva of wisdom, Samantabhadra, shining practice Bodhisattva, Avalokiteshvara, Kuan Yin of compassion, Kitsagarbha Jizo, storehouse Bodhisattva, Maitreya, future Bodhisattva of loving kindness. We'll do Shakyamuni Buddha, but we're also going to do Mahapajapati, who was the Buddha's aunt who raised the Buddha, but also started the first order of nuns. And we're going to do some Tibetan. I mean, Tibetans are amazing in terms of their iconography. So we'll explore Tara and Dakinis and also some wrathful deities. They've got great wrathful deities. We'll figure out what that's all about. Earth as Bodhisattva, we found out when we were at Pepperwood. Thich Nhat Hanh said, Earth is Bodhisattva, and all the beings are bodhisattvas on this earth. So they're not just special high beings. They happen to be us. You may not think so, but that's the eyes we're developing, is to see each person as a Buddha and a bodhisattva. And we're also going to do we'll delve into black liberation and ancestral practice that's coming forward in this time as bodhisattva practice, and do something with sanctuary and bodhisattva practice that's happening in this time around immigration and chaplaincy and personal stories, and we're gonna we'll show you Mayumi Oda, as she took all of these traditional bodhisattvas and turned them into goddesses. It's a book that's out of print, but we're going to put some up on screen in a little bit. But what is a bodhisattva? I brought, because I love to see what different people say, Faces of Compassion by Taigen Dan Layton. Let me just read you something. Well, first of all, his dedication is, may all awakening beings extend with true compassion their luminous mirror wisdom. May the merit and virtue of these considerations of the Bodhisattvas, both of the words herein and in the reader's heart, be extended to all beings, that all may find their unique, sparkling place in the way of awakening, and may the practice of awakening go on endlessly. So may we all find our unique, sparkling place in the way of awakening. Kind of like being part of a galaxy of stars, isn't it? So Taigen Dan says, Bodhisattvas are beings who are dedicated to the universal awakening or enlightenment of everyone. They exist as guides and providers of succor to suffering beings and to offer everyone an approach to meaningful spiritual life. A Buddha, or awakened one, has fully realized liberation from the suffering of afflictive delusions and awakening. This liberating awakening of a Buddha is realized through deep experiential awareness of the inalienable, defiled nature of all beings and phenomena. It's a lot of words. Okay, then he says, everything is all right. I can get that. I mean, I can't get it, but I can practice with that. Everything is all right just as it is. A bodhisattva carrying out the work of Buddha's vows not to personally settle into any kind of salvation of final Buddhahood. It's just like Buddhas can just kind of dissolve into time and space and here, not here. But a bodhisattva says, well, why would you do that? I just want to be here to help people. So bodhisattva, just lifetime after lifetime, if you believe in lifetimes, or moment after moment. I mean, it's probably parts of you who would just like to get enlightened and get out of here, right? I mean, it's like it's kind of troublesome hanging out here. Especially these days, it's like, get me out of here. But a bodhisattva just says, I can't do that. I just want to be here to help. And if I'm going to be here to help, then I better wake up to what it is to be a human being so that I can understand. I'm being facetious now, is what all of you crazy, deluded human beings are doing, running around. But a bodhisattva knows. I've always loved that Dogen says that a Buddha is actually just, it's not that a Buddha or a bodhisattva or a Buddha here on this earth is not deluded. What a Buddha knows is that they're deluded. That's really important. You're not getting over yourself. You're awake in it enough to know that, oh, it's delusion. And we've been studying that in Yogacara, and it's like it's all projection. So that's Taigen. See if anybody else. Let's see what these other. If this gets any better. We'll see. I read these at home and then I start reading them out loud and I think, Okay, this is Alan Senaki, the Bodhisattva's Embrace. Alan Senaki, who was the abbot of Berkeley Zen Center and was a really preeminent engaged Buddhist. He really he was the real deal. He devoted his life to helping people in myriad ways. To embrace is to encircle. I wrap my arms around you. You put your arms around me. To embrace is to unify, to make one of two, an act of love. In embrace, the limits of body, skin, feelings, and thoughts are all transcended. Seen at a distance, two beings are one. There's a legend, I didn't know this, that in Asia, bodhisattvas practice deep in the forests, saving our world from destruction. They enact interdependency by embracing the world beyond good and bad. These bodhisattvas are quiet engines of salvation humming along beneath the surface of our societies and ourselves. They may even have a special dance. Ooh, maybe we'll burst out dancing in the course of this. Bodhisattvas are spiritual masters who live with a vow to save all sentient beings. The word bodhisattva means an enlightened being or an enlightening being. And then he talks about in Jataka tales, which we studied before, tell stories about the Buddha waking up to be the Buddha. And the Buddha is all kinds of, is a tiger and a parrot and a hare and doing all kinds of mischievous and wonderful and deluded things to wake up and to realize that what they really want to do is be here to help people. Okay, let's see what Rafe Martin has to say. Zen Life of Bodhisattvas. Zen Buddhism holds that great bodhisattvas, spiritually advanced wisdom beings, whose sole purpose is saving all living things from suffering, exist all around us. Having freed themselves, ourselves, from habitual self-centeredness, they are at compassionate play throughout the many worlds. For everyone. Buddhist tradition asserts that our actual nature, yours, mine, and everyone's, is already from the start that of a Buddha or Bodhisattva. That each of us, immature and limited as we are, they must be talking about the other people, not us, is a wise and compassionate being, or could be if we only knew it. I think that's an amazing thing about this tradition is it's like there's no original sin or nothing you have to get over or apologize. I mean, you have to be kind and work, but that you're a Buddha. Everybody is a Buddha waking up to be a Buddha. And what a Buddha sees is the Buddha in everything. It's just something opens and you develop Buddha eyes. And I think we all have that experience. In a flash, in a moment, you see someone as Buddha, or you see the moment as perfection. And then, of course, we get a little distracted. But that's part of it too, because if you don't understand how distractible we are and how we get lost in our own conditioning, you're not going to have compassion for the person next to you who's doing something like that. Our problem is that we don't know it, that we're all Buddhas, that we've forgotten our original nature, and because of this fundamental ignorance, we can and do not just fail to act compassionately, but sadly go off track, often to catastrophic effect. Hence our world today with its problems of classism, nationalism, racism, misogyny, environmental destruction, and more. We can choose to correct our fundamental error and eventually the ills that spring from it through what we tamely call spiritual practice. Practice. Dogen calls it continuous practice. We can begin to set things right by awakening to our actual nature and then learning to live from it in light of it. That is the essence of Zen practice, and that is Bodhisattva practice. We all have Buddha nature. Everything is Buddha nature. Fall down on the ground, get up by the ground. Fall down on the ground, get up by the sky. Continuous practice. That's all. It's vow. We'll get to that in a minute. So Bodhi means a state of being awake, and Sattva is a sentient being or a mind, an intent or intention of you just want to direct your whole being towards waking up. and being of help and being of service to help the whole world wake up. Bodhicitta. I always said this before, but I always thought bodhicitta, which is it's the longing to wake up, to notice that there's maybe something wrong here, like suffering, and that you want to do something to be of help. And I always thought that the arising uh, of bodhicitta would feel like, and maybe it does sometimes, is like it would be some like really happy. I got it. I got it. And maybe that's it, but it's also called the quivering of the heart or the genuine heart of sadness, which feels to me closer to my own experience of you just look around and you just more and more feel tenderness and compassion towards yourself and to other people. And then something starts to awaken in your own heart and body, and that just becomes the orientation of your life. So bodhisattva precepts, right? We do bodhisattva precepts. The bodhisattva paramitas. We've Avatamsaka Sutra. We know that there are bodhisattvas everywhere, and the bodhisattva paramitas are. Write this down so you can have your little.
Cheat sheet?
Yeah, that's it. A little cheat sheet. Generosity. Oh, I wanted to be generous. Wow, what was that closed-handedness there? This doesn't mean that you don't take care of this self, that you go past this self to jump out there to take that self. It's there's some open-heartedness that we're practicing with here. Ethical conduct, which is the precepts, patience. How do you guys do with patience? I really like that Thich Nhat Hanh defines patience as all-inclusive. I think that sometimes when I feel, you know what impatience feels like in your body? I mean, it's important to know these things. What's it feel like when you're pushing against something? Um, I think patience is the antidote to anger. So if you're feeling anger arise, what's it feel like in your body? What happens to your jaw? I mean, this is all really deep conditioning. And then all inclusive is just, what am I leaving out here? Because I don't know about you, but when I want what I want, it's pretty single-minded. And I'm not so aware until I remind myself that maybe somebody else is in the picture or somebody else's, and maybe that might be a helpful thing to come back to. Effort, it takes effort, even enthusiasm. It's like, wow. I mean, not all the time. I mean, you can be depressed, you can be, all the things that we are, but there is some inherent feeling of, I don't know what this is, but I really want there's a path here and I really want to understand it. Meditation, Thich Nhat Hanh's been saying, I think I like his definition of meditation as I understand it, which is deep seeing and deep listening. It's like a really embodied presence. Wisdom, which is understanding that there is no separation inherently, everything is one. And then in the 10 bodhisattva paramitas, the last four, because we mostly do the six, the last four are all about ways to help people. So skillful means, what would be really helpful here, which takes some grounding and insight to be able to sense or intuit what might be helpful instead of conditioned response or behavior. Vows, powers, which we ran into that in the Avatamsaka Sutra. I think powers are just the power of being embodied, power of presence, and of knowing that there is suffering and we want to wake up from suffering. So I thought Bodhisattva vows, beings are numberless, I vow to save them. There's different language, but that's the traditional one. Delusions are inexhaustible, I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless, I vow to enter them. Buddha's way is unsurpassable, I vow to become. This is a great book, Living by, we should just, anyway, it's Okamura is Living by Vow. It's just a great basic book you can go back to over and over again. I wanted to see what he had to say. So you're going to hear it, okay? I believe that all verses and scriptures in the Soto Zen tradition are based on the Mahayana teaching of the Bodhisattva vow. That's why I called this book Living by Vow. Soto Zen Buddhism is part of the Mahayana Buddhist tradition, in which practitioners are called bodhisattvas. You're a bodhisattva. Everybody on the path everybody's a bodhisattva, but to be on the path and to know it is a bodhisattva. We receive bodhisattva precepts and take bodhisattva vows. One of the fundamental ideas of Mahayana Buddhism is to take the bodhisattva vow and to practice like Shakyamuni Buddha to attain Buddhahood. We'll talk about Shakyamuni next week. The bodhisattva vow has two aspects: becoming a Buddha and helping all Buddhas become, and helping all beings become Buddhas. Becoming a Buddha and helping all beings become Buddha. These two cannot be separated. We vow to become Buddhas together with all beings. That is, we vow not to become a Buddha until all beings become Buddha. We vow not to become a Buddha until all beings become a Buddha. That's kind of a big deal. That means everybody and everything is your teacher. And everybody and everything isn't something out there that's a problem to fix or that's something in our way. It's everybody and everything is here to help us wake up along with the whole world. We vow to stay in samsara in this world on purpose to walk with all beings. Now, you may think, well, that sounds nice, but I don't know. But I figure, this is what we're all waking up to, is we all want to love and be loved, right? And the most fun, that's what everybody and everything wants. And I figure by the time you end up on a cushion and in this room, and then some of us have these things hung around our necks or have taken vows, because you're going to take the vows at the end of today, which means you're already doomed. You already have said all of this and you already showed up because it's already in your heart. So then we just are going to help each other do it. I'll just remind us. I've said this before, but I used to think as a person of Zen that the Four Noble Truths were sort of like beginning. It's like that was beginning. That was Buddhism 101. And now that we're Zen, we're on to the more advanced, more sophisticated steps. But I don't think so. So I'm going to remind us about the Four Noble Truths, which is the core teaching of the Buddha. In the Pali Canon, the Buddha's first discourse is recorded in a sutra called Setting in Motion the Wheel of the Dharma, and the Buddha describes the Four Noble Truths. So again, we did the Avatamsaka Sutra, which is just kind of off the top, amazing cosmos. Just it's so vast and so and it's said to be a description of the Buddha's awakening experience. We've all had moments where just sort of conditioned reality just dissolves or comes apart, and it's like I don't know what it's like, but there's just this feeling that everything is okay and it's way bigger and inexplicable and you couldn't grasp it or say it. But in that moment, it's like, I got it. And then it's gone, right? And we do change cellularly, but Buddha in his kindness, after saying, there's no way I'm going to try to teach these people because they're never going to get it, is what he came up with is the Four Noble Truths, which are it's so simple and it's so profound. And I know you've heard them, but I'm going to say them again because I just more and more feel like we just need to keep saying, we just keep, I know that I need to keep hearing these things over and over again. First noble truth, what is it?
There is suffering.
There is suffering. There's suffering. It's not anybody's fault. It's not your fault. It's just there is suffering because of the way we perceive, because we perceive in duality. Thing is that what a bodhisattva does is says in the bodhisattva vows, I want to help. I vow to save myself and everybody in this big stew, this big ocean of suffering. And it's particularly, I want to wake up in this self and to understand the way the self, what the self does that creates so much suffering, which is second noble truth. What's the second noble truth? You didn't know you were going to take a test, huh?
There's a cause.
There's suffering. There's a cause of suffering. What's the cause of suffering?
Clinging.
Yeah, some people say clinging. It's like I have a self over here, and I really believe that if I try hard enough, I can be happy. I mean, just endlessly lasting happiness. Do you believe that? I actually, some part of me, I mean, you have to be really honest here. It's like, oh, that was so sweet. I just want this to go on forever. And then when it changes into something else, we're a little kerflutzed. And surely somebody out there in here did something wrong, but it's because that's what we. Do you guys like this? I love this stuff. It's just such a good constant reminder because we're doing it all the time. And so one of the Gil, actually, I was looking at this part of this is from a lecture by Gil Fronsdale, but he always reminds us that it's another name for desire is thirst. It's like, and he redefines it as drivenness. Notice your drivenness. What is it that is inside driving you towards something or away from it? Which he says, when you're driven, you have no freedom. Because it's the drive that's driving us. When desire and aversion is compulsive and action is reactive and often habit driven, that's not freedom. And that's suffering. And the fact that we believe it when it's happening is the cause of suffering. The release from it, there is end of suffering, is to let it go over and over and over. The possibility of living without compulsion, of living in freedom from compulsion, habit, and self-preoccupation. Actually sounds kind of wonderful, doesn't it? And I think if we're all honest, and part of it is it's hard to tell how much is practice and how much of it is maturation and how much of it is just that you just keep running into the same wall and you know you just kind of wake up just by virtue of that your head hurts. But we are a little wiser. I'm a little wiser and a little kinder. I don't have any doubt about that. And I also know that I can be really, I was going to say, I can do really stupid things. I can cause harm, and I don't mean to. But then I look and it helps me because I didn't mean to cause harm, and I have more compassion and more kindness. So beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Study them. Wake up in them. The third one, Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them, which is to just moment after moment, the whole world is coming towards us to wake us up. And I just vow to wake up moment after moment, to meet each moment as present as I can for no beginning, no end. And then the fourth noble truth is there's a path. And traditionally, it's the Eightfold Path. That's based in fundamentally wisdom, right view. How are you viewing the world? Turn it around. Oh, I'm a little self-centered over here. Take a breath. With kindness, it's like make it bigger. And intention. What's my intention here? Which is not that I just want to get my way all the time, which of course myself, I can say this with kindness, but it's like that's what the self does, is it wants its way. Then ethics, then more and more, you just want to do ethical speech and action and livelihood. You want to do things that align with your intention. And meditation, mindfulness, concentration, presencing is the path. But more and more we know it's not my suffering or your suffering. Suffering arises because we objectify, we make things into things, including ourselves. I can't remember. Oh, maybe this was Gil. In Zen practice, we always start right here where we are. The whole response to the world arises out of being rooted in the present, without an objective me in the middle and without an objective other out there. That's it. Got it? That's it. Now practice it forever. So I thought I just wanted you to have a taste of Mayumi Oda. I know Mayumi. I knew Mayumi when I first came to Zen Center. She was down in the garden painting like mad. She's an amazing little being. I mean, big being, but not. But now it's like she's kind of being repackaged, or maybe she's smart enough that she's doing it herself because Mayumi's no dummy, is that she's a revolutionary. And she is. I mean, before it was just Mayumi being Mayumi, which is true. But she just took all of these archetypes and all of this teaching and she just blew it up into the most amazing art. So let's just take a minute and we're going to put it on screen and maybe you guys can we'll come back to it. But because this path, as opposed to this is a path of shoulds and you should do all of this, it's really a path of the imagination. So can you just take here, you guys look on here too. What if you started seeing the world as dancing energy, alive color and light? And that these traditional forms that we're going to be looking at are that they actually arose, that over time they kind of arose as energetic teachers in the Sambhogakaya realm, or just like sparkling aliveness to just say, what you think is going on here is really just a very small picture. He says about Samantabhadra, who's a shining practice bodhisattva. She turns meditation into action and dream into reality. We tend to think there is someone out there to help us do this, but unfolding the path completely depends on ourselves. When you become Samantabhadra herself, you can freely ride this wheel of Dharma and receive wonderful support from people, friends, and teachers. And in this one, Samantabhadra is riding a bicycle. So I thought we have a little bit of time before we do service. Is maybe I mean there are like Tygan Dan Layton talks about Martin Luther King as a bodhisattva. I mean there are big bodhisattvas that I think we could probably pull forward and agree on. But I'm wondering if you can like think close. Like in last week or maybe in the last year, I mean, whatever comes to you, is who or what has been a little bodhisattva helping you wake up? What came to me is my son and daughter-in-law have a foster adopt little 9-year-old boy who's come into our life. And I just feel like he's teaching me about the whole world. He's clearly a little bodhisattva, and he's also clearly a traumatized little 9-year-old boy. But I just, when I look at him through the eyes of a bodhisattva, I just feel gratitude. So maybe just turn to the person next to you, and I'll put you guys in little groups online, and you're only going to have about 10 minutes of just share a little bodhisattva moment. It could be a plant, it could be a tree, it could be a person, it could be just something that's you felt like they're really there to help you wake up. And there's probably a sense of gratitude.